from everybody else?
My deep ball, it has a little secret sauce to it, man.
Never get too high, never get too low, but just keep moving.
The whole story is Carlos never beat me in any kind of sports in high school.
It's a line. We got to talk about it.
All right, let's talk about the offensive line. So my name today is Zemno MJ Hude. A lot of people have been talking about the MJ playing, and they're saying that he's possibly going to be a starting right guard. This is not some just them talking about a guy that I'm not blaming him for getting Joe Burrow hurt, but to say or ignore the fact that he had one of the worst seasons in guard history charted by Pro Football Focus. He had a 40 pass block grade. I think one of the things that I like about MJ is him in the run game, but he's super inconsistent in the pass game. And a guy coming off a torn ACL, a guy that just got 75% of the pressures on him were from number 60 right in front of him. Psychologically, I just don't even think that's a good idea for Joe Burrow. Him as a backup, sure. I feel like his body mold, everything about him fits the bill, but that's just not a mistake. I'm sorry, I don't want to rephrase that. That's not something that I want to happen again, where we're taking a chance on projecting someone to be better, and we're looking at current camp highlights of him getting abused or not having good reps, right? And then people are like, well, if he let the best man win. Some guys practice really well. I'll just leave it at that. Some guys practice really well. That was my thought for that. It looks like Spain has the left guard spot sold up.
Yeah, it looks like Spain has the left guard position sold up. You know, we're going to have to see what happens in this game and how it plays out, because you got Xavier Suafilo there, who also isn't looking as good either. You got Jackson Carmer, who hasn't taken a step, still has to get in shape. So hopefully we get some answers, and I think that they've said that a lot. You know, a lot of people are reading into camp, and I think that it's safe to say that Spain is safe, but a lot of these battles are really going to get hashed out with these games. They're going to have to see what they can do in games. Like Zim said, a lot of people might practice well, but when them lights come on and things happen, you'll have to see if they keep that same energy. So we'll have to see how it is. I think one thing that I remember is I think Mohamed Sanu was notoriously known for practicing horrible. But when he would get in the game, he would just turn up. And so I'm hoping with some of these guys that's the case. It is scary, though, when we all saw Michael Jordan's name starting at right guard. I mean, you know, it was kind of scary, but we'll have to see how it plays out.
The same way a guy could get elevated or something, like just like if you go to job, like a guy has to get demoted or something like that. Like I could see him in an emergency situation, or I could see him as, you know, like a good backup for a lot of guys. Like I just think psychologically, it just doesn't. It's not good. Like Joe Burrow's human too. Like I don't think that he could give him all the ringing endorsements he wants. But I know Joe. I think like Joe. I ain't Joe, but I think like Joe. That's not a river I want the water to flow down again. How about that?
Right.
And somebody asked about Carmen. They said that the word is he isn't, from a conditioning standpoint, he isn't where they want him to be. Deontay Smith, as we alluded to earlier, is. And Deontay Smith is a guy that's bulked up, put on some more pounds, still has a long way to go, but he is a guy that's going to get some reps at guard. He's got the prototypical body for a right tackle, or possibly left tackle, if you know, whatever. But he has a prototypical body for a tackle. So that's what, you know, I think they're grooming him to be. But in the time being, here we go. Like, let's go to preseason. Let's see what he's got. That's something different to me. If the guy's playing really well and the lights aren't bright for him, and he turns up and he's the best man out of it, I feel like that's good. I just think that when the lights cut on, I'm not exaggerating and I'm not jumping the gun. I just know what I've seen thus far. I'm not at camp, but I've seen a whole lot of highlights and I've seen a whole lot of trench work. And he ain't been looking sweet. He ain't looking no better than what I remember him from last year.
You also wanted to touch on Darius Phillips as a kick returner or a punt returner.
Yeah. I've been on record as saying this. Darius Phillips is probably the best punt returner in the NFL. But because he got injured, I think it was that Bills game where he went crazy. Ever since then, they've needed him from a cornerback perspective. But what happens? The depth chart comes out, and Eli Apple is now they got him as the fourth corner. So now they had Darius Phillips as the starting punt returner. So I want to see some fireworks from him in preseason. I'm hoping that's the number one thing I want to see is some punts go to him. Can he handle the football? Does he not bobble anything? Is it clean? If it comes out clean, I'm telling you now, that's going to be a weapon that we can use throughout the whole entire years. Even if they feel like Trent Taylor can give them more efficiency from returning punts, they still will bring Darius Phillips in as, like that Pac-Man role and electrify the place up and get it going. So Darius Phillips is the guy that I'm looking at the hardest in preseason because I know what he can do as a corner. I just worry about him holding up a whole entire year with his size. Like, bro, like me standing next to him, I might be bigger. I'm not sure. But from a punt return standpoint, they got him listed number one kick returner. They got him behind Brandon Wilson. So we might see him in that capacity as well. And if y'all haven't seen him or y'all don't remember him from 2 years ago, he's electric.
Another super chat here from my man DJ Mister. Appreciate that, bro. He says, even with all the weapons, do you guys think that we will run the ball more this year? And lastly, if we stay healthy enough, can we make the playoffs? So to answer your first question, I definitely think we're going to be able to run the ball a lot more with Frank Pollack. That's what everybody's sleeping on. You get a lot of people that had Joe Mixon in fantasy last year that are spurned and stuff like that. They're forgetting that he was the leading AFC rusher. Last time Frank Pollack was here, he could take his game to a whole nother level. So I completely think that the run game definitely will be a factor. You saw what Samaje Perine could do. He filled in admirably last year. That's why he got that contract extension. And then my man Chris Evans. And lastly, if we stay healthy enough, can we make the playoffs? I'm going to say in quote Zim, when you got number 9, there's always a chance. But I'm kind of like Zim said, this is a marathon. I'm waiting until we really had that playoff lane, which I really truly think is next season. But anything is possible. I mean, Carson Wentz just got hurt. If Baker Mayfield or Lord forbid any other, I would never wish that on it. Now I did make a laugh earlier at Bateman. That is not about Bateman. It's just joking. We don't want him to be injured or anything like that.
I want you out there, boy.
If you watching this, don't be mad at me.
Get on out here. I need him out there anyway. I don't need no excuses. That's the number one thing. I don't want none of y'all excuses. So we definitely want him out.
We want everybody healthy, but I think if we stay healthy, there's a chance. But I really see that chance being more so next season for us to take that step. There's another super chat
Rick
here.
Wagner. Rick Wagner must be wanting like a bag or a starting gig,
and Ryder hasn't signed either, right? He went and visited someone else and still didn't sign.
I was told when he came to Paul Brown, they were looking at that left knee, and when he left, the same way that they looked at Kerrigan,
right?
And it didn't look. They didn't see what they wanted to see. That's just what a little birdie told me.
They said that James said the offense is looking so good because they're not calling sacks down. Ben Baby pointed that out as well. I mean, we just gonna have to see. It's practice. At the end of the day, it's practice. I remember a time where I think 3 or 4 seasons ago, they were like the Bengals edge rush is looking amazing. And the whole time they was practicing against Cedric Ogbuehi, and when they got in real game situations, it wasn't the same. So I think we just got to see how they do in this game, especially with the Buccaneers. But then before we get out of here, are there any expectations for you from that Buck scrimmage that you want to see? Like, what are your expectations for it?
I don't want to see Joe Burrow play, which they said he wasn't. They said that Hopkins won't play. I think Reader's not going to play. They have a list that I had pulled up, but I got a little busy just now. But if you guys are in the chat, just go ahead and y'all can list the guys that aren't going to play. But my number one goal is to come out of the game healthy. Honestly, I'm one of the people that over the years I like going to preseason games. It's almost like going to a baseball game. I like the atmosphere. You get to talk to people. It's not as tense, but I'm not looking for much. I'm just looking at some of those roster battles. I want to see the tight end position. I want to see what are they looking at. Like, is Thaddeus Moss going to show that in a game? Is he going to, do what it takes to be, maybe the guy that we didn't think that he was? Like, I doubted him. But in camp, he's been looking spectacular. Can he do it under the bright lights? That's what we're going to look for. Also, I want to see this Cam Sample or Cy Flash, because I think coming out of that preseason game, it's going to tell him a lot. From an offensive line standpoint, I think all eyes are on that guard position that we talked about. So it is what it is. And it's just like, Those guys got to battle it out. Also, Evan McPherson has been probably the camp MVP. I want them to purposely put him in a position to go from like 50 something, like just purposely just do it and just see what the kids got, because I believe in him. I'm not one of them people that's jumped out there and said, well, he's the next Justin Tucker, but he's got a hell of a leg on him. So let's see it.
Facts. Well, as you guys know, the good folks at Midwest Best Barbecue definitely hooked us up with some food and stuff like that. We've gotten your feedback that you guys have been down. So please be sure to check them out. 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. Stop by there. Tell them that Ace and Zim sent you. Make sure you get some of those Grippo wings for sure. But thank you guys for supporting. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow Zim on Twitter at ZimHude. Follow me on Twitter at New Stripe City. Follow him on Instagram at Zim_Hude, and follow me at New Stripe City. And of course, we'll end it with a yes,
Sirski.
Hello, world. What separated your deep ball from everybody else?
My deep ball, it has a little secret sauce to it, man.
Never get too high, never get too low, but just keep moving.
The whole story is Carlos never beat me in any kind of sports and